Four, three, two, one. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Monroe Mann here, YouTube live streamer, coming to you live with part six of six of Rose Reads on The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Beep by Manson. And we're going to get right to it. And I suspect that you're going to be very motivated by the end of this. We only have a page and a half, so it's probably going to be a shorter episode, maybe a half an hour. And but sometimes that's all you need to get motivated and get off your ass and do something awesome. Hi, Davey. Nice to see you. Your subscribers are going up like crazy. My subscribers are going down. Every day, my subscribers are lower than they used to be. Very frustrating. Anyway, okay, number one, forcing yourself to do anything, even the tiniest task, can get you out of your funk. Forcing you to do anything, even the tiniest task, can get you out of your funk. And, you know, what funk are we talking about? We're talking about the funk of just sometimes just losing motivation and feeling like you don't want to do anything, or you're not motivated. Or you don't have to think about the whole task. Just get up and do one tiny thing. Just like this YouTube live stream. As you know, I've gotten a lot less motivated about doing YouTube because I no longer have the viewers. I'm already 2 minutes in and it says there are 0 people watching. So it's very hard to find the motivation to do the YouTube live streams anymore. But what does it say? Forcing yourself to do anything, even the tiniest task, can get you out of your funk. Me just getting going. Once I get going, I'm having a good time doing the YouTube live stream. Even though it feels like I'm sort of talking to myself half the time now, because, I mean, this is just absurd what has happened. But even the tiniest task, even doing a little bit of a YouTube live stream, can get me out of my YouTube funk. Next note that I took. Absolute freedom by itself means nothing. The only way to achieve meaning and a sense of importance in one's life is through a rejection of alternatives, a narrowing of freedom, and a choice of commitment to one place, one belief, and person. Now, that's a very interesting concept, because I was talking about the other day, I decided to give up my pursuit of a law enforcement job. And it's something I've been pursuing for ever since I was in high school, really. So like more than 20 years later, only a few days ago did I say, you know what? I'm putting that dream away. And the amazing feeling that I got when I did that was this freedom. It says the only way to achieve meaning and a sense of importance in one's life is through a rejection of alternatives, a narrowing of freedom. There's a expression that my mom would always say to me when I was younger: rejoice, rejoice, you have no choice. And the meaning of that is, when you don't have a choice, you don't let it get you down. What's up? Keep going. That's what we're talking about today, about keeping going. So you might, if you're feeling funky, maybe one of the reasons is you have too many choices. They have said that a lot of times that people who are in arranged marriages initially are upset, but eventually they come to have just as much, if not more, love for the other person than people who got to choose their spouses. And here I am, 47, I'm still single. Why? Because I think I have too many choices. I have this idea that, I got so many choices out there, and as a result, I don't make any choice. But as a result, I'm lonely, I'm sad, I'm without a significant other. Maybe those people who are just given an arranged marriage, in some ways, Think about this. I'll read this again. Absolute freedom by itself means nothing. The only way to achieve meaning and a sense of importance in one's life is through a rejection of alternatives, a narrowing of freedom, and a choice of commitment to one place, one belief, and person. So the advice here is try to narrow your pursuits by trying as many different things as possible, and by the process of elimination, getting rid of the things that you know, all right, that is not my path. That is not my path. That is not my path. Only then should you then focus on what's really important. But you don't know what's really important until after you've tried many, many different things. And what's up? Keep going. Oh, I know a lot about India. You're to New Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore. And I'm hoping this year or next year I'm going to come visit India. I don't really know when, but I hope to come soon. So again, I'm reading my notes from the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Beep by Mark Manson. Next one. Many philosophies state that we all must say yes to opportunities, say yes to everything. But we need to reject something. The avoidance of rejection, both ways, gives us short-term pleasure by making us rudderless in the long term. I'll read it again. Many philosophies state that we all must say yes to opportunities, say yes to everything. But we have to reject something. The avoidance of rejection gives us short-term pleasure by making us rudderless in the long term. So, if you don't reject things and dreams and people and things in your life, that's going to actually cause you more pain than the short-term pleasure of avoiding the rejection. So that's good advice. Next, there's a certain level of joy and meaning in life when you've spent decades investing in a single relationship, a single craft, a single career, etc. You can't get there without rejecting other things and other people. I was talking the other day about how much energy I have now that I am focusing really very strongly just on breakdiving. My company breakdiving and doing the coding on that. And there is a sense of freedom in being unburdened by the pursuit of everything. And I don't say that the pursuit of everything else that I did, like for the pursuit of the law enforcement for so many years, was a mistake. But it's good that I finally was able to put it away and say, okay, that's not what I'm pursuing anymore, and it's for the right reasons. Because now I can focus now on what's important to me and feel really good about that. Next, for most of human history, romantic love was not celebrated as it is now. It was seen as an unnecessary and potentially dangerous psychological impediment to the more important things in life, which I was kind of just talking about before. Romantic love is like cocaine. It gets you high and makes you feel good for a while, but also creates as many problems as it solves, as does cocaine. Yeah, romantic love is like cocaine. It gets you high and makes you feel good for a while, but it also creates as many problems as it solves. Which is why, in many ways, and that could also be why I don't have a girlfriend. I don't want necessarily that romantic love. Of course, you'd like that. But more importantly is if I were to have a romantic relationship, that person has to support my life and my dreams. I don't mean financially necessarily. I don't even mean that in any way. It's got to be that this person loves every aspect about me and says, I am going to contribute to what you are already doing. Monroe, you have a YouTube channel, you have this company Breakdiving, you like reading, you like traveling, You take care of your mom. Well, guess what? All of those things, I need somebody in my life who's going to augment those, not try to detract me from those. And that should be the way that all of you approach any relationship you have in life. The people in your life should help you, not hurt you. Absolutely. Here are some examples of poor boundaries. And these are all reasons why I probably don't have a girlfriend, because here, like, these type of people annoy me. If these are the things they say, you can't go out with your friends without me. Or, my coworkers are idiots. They always make me late to meetings because I have to tell them how to do their jobs. I can't believe you made me feel so stupid in front of my own sister. Never disagree with me in front of her again. I'd love to take that job in Milwaukee, but my mother would never forgive me for moving so far away. I can date you, but don't tell my friend Mark. He gets insecure when I have a girlfriend and he doesn't. So those are just some examples. Here's another good little bit of wisdom. Honesty in a relationship is more important than feeling good all the time. The last person you should have to censor yourself with is the person that you love. And that's wise. The last person you should have to censor yourself with is the person that you love. And again, that's why I'm saying you should have, if you're going to have a romantic relationship or even a good friend, you should be able to be honest with that person, and that person should be honest with you. I don't like when people lie. I no longer have a former friend because that person said to me, oh, I'm going to do this with you. I'm going to do this with you. The same thing. I'm going to do this. And I said, all right, hey, are we going to finally do this? Are we going to finally do this? And then a year and a half later, that person finally said, oh, man, I can't do that. My wife would never let me. I said, you told me for a year and a half that you're going to do this with me. And then you use your wife as an excuse? And I said, well, forget that. You said that you're going to do this with me, so you better do this with me. I mean, either you keep your promise to your friend, or you use this lame excuse that your wife is keeping you, which is not the situation. I don't like when people use other people as the reason why that, oh, I'm sorry, I got to speak about that with my wife. And then they come back, oh, yeah, my wife said no. I will never be with like a girl who would say, Monroe, you have to give up skydiving. Monroe, you can't ride your motor scooter anymore. Monroe, I don't like it when you're traveling. Monroe, I think you got to stop being a YouTuber. Monroe, I need you to stop stop working on breakdiving. Look, if you can't fit into my life, I'm not fitting you into mine. That's 100%. All right, next. Without conflict, there can be no trust. Now, that's interesting. And I think what that means also, too, is if you can get through a fight, if you can get through a conflict, generally both sides end up being a lot stronger. So don't shy away from conflict initially. I know there's people, myself included, who will say, oh, I try to avoid conflict at all times. And I think we all do. Why would you go after conflict? I know there are some people who do. Trial attorneys kind of charge straight towards conflict. But most people try to avoid conflict, and that's a good thing. But you shouldn't avoid it when conflict is the best and only way to maybe solve a problem. And that's what I want you guys to look into. Okay, next. Conflict is not only normal, it's absolutely necessary for the maintenance of a healthy relationship. Moving on. If people cheat, it's because something other than the relationship is more important to them. Whatever the reasons, it's clear that the cheater's values are not aligned in a way to support a healthy relationship. Just a story. It's not really about cheating because I wasn't dating this girl or anything like that. I met a girl on a dating app recently, and we were talking, getting along very, 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 very well. And then I said, hey, do you want to get together tonight? And she was like, oh yeah, that sounds great. Blah, blah, I'm just going to check my schedule and this and that, blah, blah. And then we were talking more during the day, and I said, let me know about tonight. And then like 2 hours later, she messaged me and goes, yeah, so it looks like I'm going to be going out with a friend tonight. So let's look into tomorrow or something like that. And it just kind of, it rubbed me the wrong. This person was not in town, doesn't live around here. So the person doesn't have friends as far as I know. And why did you have to say, I'm going out with a friend tonight? And couldn't have just been, hey, tonight's not going to work. Can we do tomorrow? And anyway, that upset me because it made it clear, like, okay, there's somebody else who's a priority tonight. That wasn't a priority 3-4 hours ago because the person didn't even know. So basically, the person was playing the field and looking, let me see, what are my options for tonight? Oh, you know what? That guy Monroe was there. Oh, someone else came up. I'm going to go out with this guy or whomever. And Monroe will wait. Monroe will be there for me tomorrow. I didn't even respond to her text because it's like, I'm not going to be anybody's second choice. And it's not cheating because we didn't go out, but there's my advice to you. If you are talking with somebody and they ask you about going out on a date tonight, and then you get back to them and say, oh no, I'm going out. Don't respond and tell them that you're going out with somebody else instead. That's not going to help with the relationship with you. Just say, tonight's not good. Are you free tomorrow? There was no need to specifically say, hey, I'm going out with some other guy tonight. But you're good for tomorrow. The next quote or little note that I took from the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Blank by Mark Manson. When trust is broken in any relationship, there are only two ways to rebuild it. One, the trust breaker admits the true values that caused the breach and owns up to them. Two, the trust breaker builds a solid track record of improved behavior over time. I have always said that, David, nobody comes to my channel anymore. YouTube just stopped sending me viewers. They stopped sending me my subscribers. They stopped sending new people. So I don't know. I was speaking the other day about, there was this one girl that I dated more than a decade ago, and I made a mistake, and we broke up. I asked for a second chance. She would not give it to me. And because of that, I learned, always give people a second chance. If they are really sincerely sorry, and if it really seems like they're going to be different. And that's exactly what he's saying here. When trust is broken in any relationship, there are two ways to rebuild it. One, admit the true values that caused the breach and own up to them. And two, build a solid track record of improved behavior over time. And that's really what you have to do. But I'm urging you, I want you to learn from what I'm telling you here is give people second chances. If someone is really sorry, give that person a second chance. For example, this girl that I was just talking about here, if she writes back to me and is somewhat contrite or apologetic in some way, maybe I'll go out with her. But I'm not texting her. Like she wrote to me, are you free tomorrow? I'm just not responding because I kind of feel pretty insulted that she found time to go out with someone else last night, but only had time for me today. Okay. Next. More is not always better. The opposite is true. We are actually happier with less. When we're overloaded with opportunities and options, we suffer from the paradox of choice. I know that I'm repeating myself, but I am so glad that I've given up my dream of working in law enforcement because I can focus on brake diving. And it is getting to the point. Have I thought about giving up on YouTube recently? Yes, because nobody comes to watch me anymore. I've got 3 people watching right now. I used to have 50. I used to have 100. Used to have 200 people. And YouTube says that nothing's changed. Of course it's changed. The algorithm doesn't send people to me. And I believe I'm in some type of corner that YouTube has put me in. But it's helping me to realize that I shouldn't be spending very much time on YouTube anymore because it's not a good return on my investment anymore. I'm not getting as many viewers. I'm not getting as many super chats. I'm not getting new subscribers. I'm losing subscribers now. I used to have 5,552 subs. Now I'm at 5,547. Every day I lose subscribers. And because YouTube is not sending me new people to my channel, I'm not gaining any new subscribers. I don't know what happened. Very, very unfortunate. But here, read this again. More is not always better. What's up, Q Potato? I'm very surprised that I have somebody new coming onto the channel because YouTube doesn't send me new people at all anymore. My subscribers don't even come to my channel anymore. Like 2 people are here, Debe Teacher and Q Potato. This chat used to go so fast that I needed to have 2 or 3 moderators in here to keep up with everything. Now my moderators don't even show up. But let me read this note again. More is not always better. The opposite is true. We're actually happier with less. When we're overloaded with opportunities and options, we suffer from the paradox of choice. And I think this is why I think dating apps in many ways have made people more unhappy because they give us this paradox of choice. They give us this idea that there are so many people out there for us. And now every single one of these dating apps, swipe, 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 swipe. It used to be, I loved the way dating apps were back in the early 2000s, where it was, you had to go and visit everybody's profile. You had to scroll down and read. You could see all the photos on one page. Now it's this nonsense. Swipe, 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 swipe. There's no sense. You don't even look at what somebody's hobbies are or where they're from. All you care about is what do they look like. And we have this paradox of choice, and it's not good. And I have gotten a lot happier now that I've narrowed down some of the things that I'm doing. Very sure. I've already made a choice about YouTube. You know, I don't do as many live streams as I used to do. Why? Because I'm not getting as many viewers. What's the point? Why should I spend hours and hours doing YouTube live streams if I've got one person watching me? It's not very good. Moving on. Basically, the more options that we are given, the less satisfied we become with whatever we choose because we are aware of all the other options we're potentially forfeiting. That's interesting as well. While investing deeply in one person, one place, one job, one activity might deny us the breadth of experience we'd like. Pursuing a breadth of experience denies us the opportunity to experience the rewards of depth and experience. So, by the way, cute potato, I'd love you to subscribe because I've lost 5 subscribers in the last 2 weeks. And it'd be great to get them back. I wonder if I will ever get to 5,600 subscribers at this point, because it's just become a losing battle with me on YouTube. Next, this one's a tough one for me, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe it's a tough one for you too. Be open to commitment. Be open to rejecting all but the very best people and experience and values in your life. Again, be open to commitment. Be open to rejecting all but the very best people and experience and values in your life. And yeah, cute potato, I'm not going to answer that question. And what's up, Sia? It's nice to see somebody I know. Literally, none of my subscribers come anymore. It's very disappointing. So I'm happy to see you. It makes me happier because I don't know what's going on. But good to see you, Sia. A pleasure. Next, and thank you for those lovely hearts. I see those. There is a freedom and liberation in commitment. It allows you to ignore the unimportant and frivolous. It hones your attention and focus. It makes decision-making easier by removing any fear of missing out. It allows you to focus intently on a few highly important goals. What's up, Jacob? How are you? Hello. Good to I got two former viewers coming back. Nice to see both of you. And that's a weird thing to think about that. There's a freedom and liberation in commitment. So sometimes when you commit to something and exclude everything else, it actually opens up a lot of freedom. And the freedom that it opens up is this freedom, it unburdens the mind. It's freedom from chaos in your brain. I can't tell you how good I feel knowing I gave up the police career pursuit. Because now I can free up all that energy. I can focus on something else that is more suitable for me and something that I believe I can be even more successful at. And commitment allows you to ignore the unimportant and frivolous. It hones your attention and focus. It makes decision-making easier by removing any fear of missing out. And it allows you to focus intently on a few highly important goals. In other words, as he says, depth is where the gold is buried. People always ask me, Monroe, why don't you focus just on one thing? And I always say, because I don't know what is going to give me the best return on investment. I don't know where the gold is buried. All of last year, since May 2024, until a few months ago, I thought the gold was buried in YouTube. I thought YouTube was going to be my launch pad. It clearly has not. And it's clearly turned out that YouTube is not only a launch pad, but it's not even a place where I can really reach a lot of people anymore. It's, in some ways, to me, it's become a little bit depressing doing YouTube live streaming now, because even doing my shorts get like 100 views now. What's up with that? So my focus has had to, by necessity, change. And it worked out because I found Upwork. I figured out a way to hire tons of coders to help me with breakdiving. And now 90% of my time is being spent on breakdiving. And I believe, and I'm going to read this again. Depth is where the gold is buried. Now I'm getting very deep into focusing on my company breakdiving, because now that is where I believe the gold is buried. I don't know if I'm going to be right, but I do know that it's not in YouTube anymore. Have I given up completely on YouTube? No, here I am. I'm still doing a live stream every once in a while. And I'm going to do my best to keep the 3,000 hours of watch time per year so that I can keep the channel monetized. But I don't know if this is where the gold is buried anymore. And that's what you need to determine. That's what he's talking about here is about commitment. Try to figure out where do you think the gold is buried, and then that's where you should spend the most of your time. But do not give up everything else. Do not give total commitment until you know for sure. Do I know for sure that break diving is going to take off this year? No. I have a 90% belief that it will. So I'm spending 90% of my time on break diving now. But I'm still keeping other doors open. I'm still doing my YouTube live streams. I'm still monetizing the break diving YouTube channel and still investigating this idea of maybe running for office as a possibility. So focus, but never focus 100% until you are really, really, really certain. Okay, next. Wow, guys, we got to the last section here. Something about Becker. I guess a guy named Becker. I guess that's what I was talking there. So, I think he was a psychologist, Becker. And he wrote, so humans are unique because they can think about themselves abstractly in hypothetical situations. And honestly, I think that's what causes most of our misery. It also is what causes a lot of our joy, too. It's caused our misery because we're thinking about hypothetical situations that haven't happened yet. And so that can either propel us into a great feeling of joy, or it could plummet us into a debilitating feeling of hopelessness. Humans are unique because they can think about themselves abstractly in hypothetical situations. Next, he says we have two selves. The first is the physical one. The second is the conceptual self, our identity, or how we see ourselves. And next, so we all create our own immortality projects that allow our conceptual self to live on beyond our physical self. But we have it backwards. Instead, we should question our concept of self and be more comfortable with death. So interesting stuff. Guys, we just finished Rose Reed's For the Subtle Art of Not Giving a Beep. So that's pretty awesome. That's the second edition of Rose Reed's that we have finished. And we are done. I'm going to just look through this, I'm going to look through all of these pages and see if there's anything that jumps out at me that I want to share with you that is worth sharing. Here's one. I feel like crap, but who cares? Keep moving on. No matter how you feel, keep moving on. And if you have a good plan, if you have a good mission for your life, that's why I always tell people, in my book, Successful New Year, Inspirational Planner, put a plan together. Create a plan for your life. Create a plan for your future. And create a plan for 2025. And then what do? Put that thing into motion. Regardless of how you feel, get off your butt and do something. Make that plan. I got to have something to drink. Create a plan for 2025, and I want you to put it into motion. Let me see. Ever notice that when you care less about something, you do much better at it? That's interesting. Is no matter where you go, there's a 500-pound load of crap waiting for you. And that's funny, and it's an interesting way of looking at things and looking at life. You can't escape problems. And what he was saying here, you just have to figure out which problems do you want to be solving. When I made the decision about the police department and brake diving, I said I'm going to have problems with brake diving. I have lots of coding problems, human resources problems. I'd rather have problems with brake diving as the leader of this company, with a leader of staff and inspiring and motivating people and doing coding work and having coding bugs, than I want to have problems working with. I remember one of my friends I was in Iraq with, when I was telling him, this was years ago, that I wanted to be a cop, he goes, dude, and he was also a police officer, he goes, you do not want to be a cop. You are so smart, Monroe, you have so much education, and you're going to be taking orders from people who barely have a college degree. And they're going to be really dumb. And he goes, it's going to drive you crazy. And maybe he's right. And I'm realizing I don't even want to put myself into the position of having to deal with those types of problems. I want to deal with working with other people who are at my same intellectual caliber as web developers, as coders, and people who are really enthusiastic and have great personality like me. And let's be honest, police officers are trained to not have personality. Same thing in the military. My personality was always bigger than the military wanted it to be. Okay. Life itself is a form of poverty, a form of suffering. The rich suffer because of their riches, the poor because of their poverty. People without a family suffer because they have no family. People with a family suffer because of their family. And that's the essence of Buddhism. Life is a struggle. No matter what we do in life, we're going to have a struggle. All right, we're moving on to next. Again, we're just doing a review now of The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Beat by Mark Manson, because we finished, and I just wanted to go over some good points that I found here. The solution to one problem is always merely the creation of the next one. Don't hope for a life without problems. There's no such thing. Instead, hope for a life full of good problems. I like that one. If you feel crappy, it's because your brain is telling you there's a problem that's unaddressed or unresolved. Negative emotions are a call to action. Good? This is interesting too. Happiness requires struggle. It grows from your problems. It grows from the solving of those problems, to be honest. For those of you who are interested in starting a business, here's a good one. To be a successful entrepreneur, you need to accept the uncertainty, the repeated failures, and the insane hours devoted to something that may earn absolutely nothing. And that's what I'm doing with brake diving, and I'm completely happy with it. I know that it may not make me a millionaire, but it could. And I'm very happy with these challenges of trying to get to that place. And here's one. The ticket to emotional health comes from accepting the bland and mundane truths of life. Your actions don't really matter that much in the grand scheme of things. The vast majority of your life will be boring and not noteworthy, and that is okay. Oh yeah, we talked about earlier about Dave Mustaine, the founder of Megadeth, which was this hugely successful band. Despite all he accomplished, in his mind, he would always be the guy who got kicked out of Metallica. In a 2003 interview, he admitted that he couldn't help but still feel like a failure. And that concerns me because I'm concerned about selling that house in Maine and always feeling like a failure because of that decision. I hope not. I really hope not. Sigmund Freud said, "One day in retrospect, the years of struggle will strike you as the most beautiful. Some of the greatest moments of one's life are not pleasant, not successful, not known, and not positive." Let me see. I'm going to try to find a couple more, and then we'll be done for today. We all get dealt cards. Some get better cards than others. The real game lies in the choices we make with those cards. Parkinson's Law, that's one of my favorites. Work expands to fill up the time available for the project's completion. Going back to Buddhism, let go of everything. Don't assume that you know anything. Be willing to consider the possibility. Maybe I'm no good at relationships. Maybe I'm not good as an entrepreneur. Maybe my idea is not as good as I think it is. Let go of your ego. Let go of your uncertainty and your certainty about who you are. Let's see. This is that funny story that we always hear. Picasso doodling in a cafe, and he crumples up the doodle. A woman says, "Can I buy that?" And she says, "Sure, for $20,000. She says, "What? It only took you 10 minutes to do that." And then he says, "No, it took me 60 years. Okay. And then we're getting to where we were today. If you're ever in a funk, remember that action is not just the effect of motivation, it's also the cause of it. So if you're depressed, just start doing something proactive. And then you'll get motivated and stop being as depressed. And the last page, again, is depth is where the gold is buried, which I was talking about before. I want you to spend a lot of time experimenting with a lot of different things. Try to find what you're meant to be doing. Then once you're sure and 100% certain, this is what I'm meant to be doing, focus on that. Focus on that, but don't do that until you're absolutely sure. And it's going to take a lot of experimentation before you are absolutely sure. So guys, we are done with our Rose Reads for today. Who's still here? I'm just curious. It says there's 2 people watching. Do either of you want to put in the chat who you are? Because I'd love to know who's stuck around with me. Well, now there's only one person. So somebody just left. Boy, super tough crowd I have these days. Super tough crowd. Well, guys, thank you. I hope this was inspiring. You can find all of the Rose Reads for this book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Beep, with in the playlist that I've created on my channel called Rose Reads. Here's my binder for these. I'm going to be starting another Rose Reads sometime, maybe this week or this coming week. And hope to see you guys on another live stream. Thanks for your support and have a great day.